Hi, I'm Khleif. Each and every week, I record an interview with a thought leader that I know you're going to get a ton of value from. Now, here on YouTube are the video versions of my podcast, Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing. Now, to make sure you get the latest information, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Let's get started. Welcome to another edition of How to Build Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing. I'm Khleif, and I'm thrilled you're here. And I know you're going to enjoy the dynamic gentleman that we're interviewing today. His name's Dan Duran, and he's a master real estate coach. He coaches people in real estate, primarily single family. But the reason I wanted him on the show is that he has these little nuances and what he calls master skills that I believe are going to add value to you. Dan, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, Rod, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let's have some fun today and, add value to my listeners. And so I know normally I would ask you, your bio, your history, what have you done, where are you from, all that stuff. But I don't want to, take away from the incredible content that I know you can add. So I want to get right into the meat of it, if that's okay with you.
That's fantastic. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So the first topic let's talk about is productivity, which I know you're a master of. So many people fall short in this area. It's so easy to get caught up in busy work or, feel like you're not making any traction, you're not executing properly, and I know it's a real struggle for a lot of people. So what do you have to say about productivity?
Well, yeah, people are confused about productivity. They think being busy is being productive. It has nothing to do with how busy you are or what you're getting, what you're achieving. What's the key is are you achieving the most important goals that relate directly to success in your business? If not, you're not productive. In fact, the really truly productive people aren't busy at all.
Right. So why? I teach my students something called the Pareto Principle. Is that where you're going with this? It's to pick. I mean, tell me how you get people to focus on the most important pieces so
Sure.
that they're not caught up like a hamster on a wheel.
Yeah, well, so I show everyone how to create a real simple plan. It's called the CAP, Critical Action Plan. Critical being the key word. If you look at any job, any business, there's usually anywhere from 4 to 8 critical result areas. That is, areas that if you do them effectively, you will succeed wildly. If you fail, you will be, out of the business. So, for example, the core 4 that I teach are marketing, sales, funding, and disposition. What are you doing with the thing? You keeping it, you flipping it, whatever. And it's real simple. You could be the best technician in the world. You can know every strategy there is, but if your marketing sucks, you're done. Okay, we don't have to go any further. So What you do is you take those critical result areas and just ask yourself, what are 3 key things I need to get done this quarter, this year in that? And then you break those into little pieces. And then every week, I teach you how to do weekly planning. You sit down at the end of the week and you look ahead in your schedule and you say, where are some open spaces? You identify those. And then you might even have to create some by moving some stuff around. And all I ask you to do is do 3 every day, okay? 3 time blocks of about 45 minutes. And that doesn't sound like much, but if you just do 3 a day, you will win in the week. And the reason we say winning in the week instead of winning in the day is anything can happen to a day, right? I mean, you can have a day just blow up and there's no control. But I insist that you never let a week slide by. Because if you ever had a situation where you wake up in January and you look back and you go, oh my gosh, I didn't get near the stuff done that I wanted to. Well, guess what? You didn't lose it in December. You lost it in January, about the 3rd week, okay? So that's it. Winning in the week, the power of 3, just put 3 things on your plan every day and get them done.
I love it. Yeah, that weekly planning session is so critical. I take my students through it as well. And we basically, you look at your list of tasks for the week, the weekly must list, and there's something called the Pareto Principle, which I alluded to, which is that typically 20% of the things on that list will get you 80% further. You're calling them the critical things, and it's it's a tomato. It's the same thing. You got to identify what those things are, and then, like you say, you block time for them. That's exactly what we do as well. I love it. Okay, so you talk about is that the 2-minute exercise that you just gave us, the productivity exercise?
Well, actually, what it is a little bit more involved. So okay. A lot of people think that just coming into work first thing, jumping into your business, that's really strong. Well, I've had a lot of clients like that, and that's not strong because okay. you're not really focused. So what I teach people to do is to take a minute and focus and actually look at the task you have to do and just think about anything that you have to do. So just off the top of your head, what are some things you don't like doing but that you have to do each day? Okay?
Right.
And you think about those. And if you gave me an example of what I would say, no, that's not true. You don't have to do that. You don't have to pay your bills. You don't have to save money. You don't have to pay your taxes. You don't have to take care of your kids. Okay. Because if you don't take care of your kids, someone will take them away from you and they'll take care of them. Okay. You don't have to pay your taxes. There's people in prison all the time. You see, whenever you say I have to, your subconscious mind says, no, you don't. I'll get you out of it. And then it gets real creative to get you into sharpening pencils and all that kind of stuff that we sometimes do. Right. This is, on the other hand, gets you to actually choose it. So I have you focus on the task at hand. I have you fascinate on it as opposed to concentrate. Look at the beauty of it, then visualize it happening. And then I also want you to feel how good that is, how good you're going to feel by getting this thing done. And then I need you to go flip over to the pain side and visualize it not happening and how lousy that's going to make you feel. Then I have you with those two realities is make a choice. Which one do you choose? Well, Rod, you're a high performer. You're going to choose the successful one, right? And then what I have you do is I have you smile. Let's just do this together for 10 seconds. You ready? Now, I dare you to think of anything negative. You can't. It's not possible. And then you move in with that. So just imagine taking 2 minutes every morning to get into the right frame of mind, the right context. Then the content will flow. Make sense?
I love it. I love it. Every successful person I've ever interviewed on my show has a morning ritual, and that's not one I've heard before. Where you consciously smile for 10 seconds. I love it.
Yeah.
And so love it. So you have a master skill that you call repurpose. Tell us about that.
Well, one of the problems with the success is really boring. Okay, and you have to be able to overcome, living through the boredom. And one of the things we find is you're going to continually need the same stuff over and over again. For example, how do you judge if a deal is good or not? Well, real simply, I encourage my clients to sit down and create a decision tree. Is it in the right place? Is it the right price? Is it all the things that are important to me? And if it makes it all the way across, because the yeses go across and the nos go down and out, then that's a deal you can buy. And just by doing this, it can help you so much because, first of all, you won't make big mistakes. And one of the problems with this business is it's got some big, expensive mistakes you can make. So it'll stop you from doing that. It'll give you the confidence to know that you're doing the right thing each time. And it'll help you when you hire others. I mean, to just give them this little diagram and say, here's your decision tree. Go get them.
Okay.
A lot easier.
It's almost like a Ben Franklin close. The bad stuff on the left side, the good stuff on the right side. Okay, fair enough.
Exactly.
All right. So you also have a master skill that literally compels you to take more time off and focus on your highest priorities, which are the things that you enjoy. What's that all?
This is a very interesting one, especially for this group, because they're all high achievers. Right? Well, that's good, and that comes with its own problems. This is known as the good enough principle. And one of my clients came to me. He was just having a real challenge. He was doing 2 flips, and this is in single family again, but it's all the same principles. Mm-hmm. He was doing 2 flips a month, and he really wanted to get to 3, and he just couldn't do it. He tried for months and months and months. So I looked at what he was doing, and sure enough, I found out that he was overachieving. He was putting too high a quality of new stuff in this home for where it was. It was about a median price homes, and he was going for like median times 2. So I pointed this out to him, and we've been raised in this. Like a thing worth doing is worth doing well, right?
Sure,
always do your best. Wrong. You don't always do your best. If I ask you, if the assignment is bring me 10 widgets, don't bring me 11. And don't bring me 9, okay? Because the return on investment for overachieving anything is a zero. Think about it. Let's use football as an example. Kickoff. Guy catches it in the end zone, runs 100 yards. What's he get? 6 points, right? Now, what if he said, I'm an overachiever. I'm going to run all the way out of the end zone. I'm going to run right out of the stadium. I'm going to run downtown and catch a bus. You still get 6 points. So whenever you find yourself overachieving, ask yourself, what's my return on investment? You're going to find out it's 0. In fact, if you think about it, we're all really in this race toward, becoming financially free. Every time you overachieve, you've added more time, more distance, and more stress for the only benefit is it keeps you in your comfort zone of I'm an overachiever. Drop that. Perfectionism, drop that. Just do the job. And I'm not saying do less. Like I say, if the job says 10 widgets, do 10. Just don't do 11. Make sense?
Okay. You know, and I'm struggling with that one a little bit, only because I really believe in adding it now, not as it relates to overbuilding. And so, yeah, I think it's the terminology that I'm struggling with, because I definitely like the term overachieving, and I like the term adding absolutely as much value as you possibly can, because whatever, you get it back tenfold. But you absolutely can overbuild in this business, guys. I see it happen with newbie investors all the time. They'll put in granite when they should just do Formica, because the granite just is way too nice for a particular demographic. So,
exactly.
That I think it was just the terminology I was struggling with. So let me ask you this. I've got the shiny object syndrome, and I've built 24 businesses, and so that's my definition is there's something shiny, so it'll distract me from whatever I'm working on. I know you've got a cure for that. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, and by the way, just so you know, I'm not perfect at any of this stuff. I've had all of these same problems, which is why I can have empathy with our group here. Yeah, shiny object is just kind of it's almost a prerequisite to get in this business. But the way we get around it is real simple. When it comes to your plan, don't put anything on your plan that you don't guarantee plan to complete it. So just think of anything that you did for 2 or 3 or 4 months and it didn't work out, and you look back and go, oh my gosh, look at all that time wasted. I mean, I do time management seminars, and we can get anybody to get an extra 20 hours in a week. But how about months of wasted time? That's what happens when you don't complete it. So I have you build in a pause. You want to put something new on your plan? First of all, I really don't like that at all. You should make your plan at the beginning of the year and stick with it throughout the year. That's ideal. And then what you do, instead of changing your plan, open up a folder somewhere, maybe on your phone or on your computer, say brilliant ideas I'm going to do in the future, and jot them down there. And then get back to your plan and forget about that shiny object, because most of them just don't work out.
Okay. I see what you're saying is completion. Bottom line is completion. Finish what you start before you get distracted. And yeah, I suffer from that one a lot. And I'm sure a lot of people listening do as well. So, it feels like in some of the things you've said that you motivate through pain. And I know as human beings, we will do more to avoid pain than gain pleasure. Is that your methodology there? Is that why you do that?
Yeah, neuroscience, brain science, that is, actually supports this, that pain is a much more powerful motivator than pleasure. So what I did, I had this couple that came to me that had been working for 5 years in this business, hadn't been able to be successful. And we were able to turn that around quickly. But the reason is I taught them this. I said, look, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go and make a complete list, say 10, 20 things that are going to happen if you continue to fail at this business. And it goes like, we could lose the house, we could lose our business, I'd have to go get a job. The spouse is going to think less of me. I'm going to let my kids down, blah, 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 all of that stuff. And then look at that every day. And this is what I call the choice of cat food or caviar. Okay. So caviar meaning anything really expensive, and cat food meaning the opposite. And I would literally encourage the people to be able to smell the cat food, because it doesn't smell very good. That's where you're headed if you don't shape up. Okay. And you need that negative. It's like me. If my wife wants to motivate me, she'll just show me our bank account. And if it's not way more than what I wanted it to be, if it's like $1 short, I go into overdrive. Because and it's known in psychology as constructive versus restrictive motivation. So we still use the constructive, do it for the benefit of it, but the restrictive is do it or else, and that's what gets a lot of us up and going.
Love it. Okay, so yeah, and I completely agree with what you just said, in that I take people through a goal setting workshop where I have them write down their positive reasons why they must achieve the goals. Then I have them put the pain in if they don't achieve them, and because the pain is the bigger motivator, like you said.
Good for you. And then they look at those two at the same time. That's great.
Right. So I know that you've got a process for goal achievement that I'd love to hear about, because I'm all about goals and why, and determining, and finding that inner drive to take action and push through fear and get outside of comfort. So you've got a process for goal achievement you claim works every time. Let's hear about it.
It's absolutely amazing. It has never failed me. And when I say failed, I mean any goal you'll achieve at least to the 90% level in a given time period. And it's never failed any of my clients either. In fact, I tell the story, if it's okay with you. There was this couple that came to me. They weren't married, but it was a man and a woman, and she was dead broke, and he was over $50,000 in debt. They had just enough money to attend one of our events, and that was it. They were afraid to even to be around for lunch, the fear that they'd have to pay for coffee. I mean, these people were on their last leg. And so I sat down and I taught them this principle. It's called the GIG, Goal Implementation Graph. And I said, I want you to goal set for $100,000 cash in the next 90 days. Well, they ended up making $181,000, which is absolutely amazing. And the way they did it was they just basically every single day asked the following 3 questions. What's my goal? How am I doing? What's the appropriate action? And that's the key to staying aware and focused. I don't know if you know this or not, but every year, the whole country goes into goal set mode, and they have all these things that they come up with. That only 1 out of 4 still remembers their goal by the end of January, and only 1 out of 12 in general is going to achieve their goals. Why? Because if you don't have it around to see, then you're not going to be able to achieve it. If you can't see it, you can't achieve it. So just ask those 3 questions every day, and you'll find that you get very, very creative as you near the end. And again, it'll work every single day.
Interesting. So goal, and how am I doing, and what action do I need to take to redirect? Yeah. And that ties right into something that I teach as well, and that I like, and that is, the goal. It's never a straight line to the goal. People think it's, you go from point A to point B, like a boat or a plane is off course 99% of the time, but they end up at the right place. So if you've got your goals in your mind's eye, and something's not working, you change your approach, but you got to keep your goal in the front of your mind, and that's really the process here. And Tony Robbins talks about this. He calls it the ultimate success formula. It's just if one approach doesn't work, change your approach. If that doesn't work, change your approach. What do you do if that doesn't work? You change your approach, and you just keep changing your freaking approach until you do get to the end zone, or do get to the goal. As long as you keep that goal in your mind's eye. Love it. So that's right along those same lines. Now,
by the way, just before we move on, another interesting thing that I like to do when I'm in a live event, so visualize I was standing up, and say, how would you like to know if your goal is truly a goal? Most people don't have goals. They actually have notions, which is a vague thought or a whim. Well, it's real simple. The difference is when you get negative feedback and you take corrective action, that's a goal. But if you get negative feedback and you whine and complain and sit down, guess what? It's just a vague whim. Okay. So that's how you know. And negative feedback is, of course, what you're talking about, the airplane off track 99% of the time. Right. And they just keep making corrections.
That's right. Course corrections. Yeah. Love it.
That's what we do.
Okay. So let me ask you this. If you could teach school children one thing for an hour a week, what would you teach?
Oh, that's awesome. Probably to not complain. Not complain. I don't know. Are you big in law of attraction at all?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I tell stories about pictures, and I've got pictures in the back of my planner here, all of which I've gotten because I focused on them and brought them into my life. And when the movie The Secret came out, I'm like, holy shit, this is what I've been doing for 30 years. And I've given away probably 1,000 copies of that movie. Yeah,
I love that thing. I was 3 months after I saw it, I was on the boat with, the guys who were the stars of that show. But here, the thing about complaining that most people don't realize. So first of all, it's a national pastime. You want to be popular, at a cocktail party, just complain. Get people, they love it.
Tell people everything's great. They're like, oh man, I'm loving life. Things are incredible. They're like, who the hell's this guy? But if you say, oh man, things are so bad, they're like, oh brother, come here. Let's commiserate together.
Exactly. But people feel the need to complain. But here's the problem with it from a law of attraction standpoint. And law of attraction is like gravity. It works whether you believe in it or not. Step off a cliff, you got gravity going. Whatever you are feeling right now is the creation of your life that you're making. So if you feel like crap because you're complaining about politics or the weather or your spouse or the kids or the market, whatever, guess what? You're asking for more of that same thing. Okay. So
Yeah.
always focus. I keep just reams of positive things in my life. All the way down to the air that I breathe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's just the opposite of complaining. So don't complain.
No, I love it. So no complaining, and it where focus goes, energy flows. So like I'll see posts in my Facebook group. How do I get out of debt? I'll say that is the wrong question. Because whatever you focus on is going to magnify. So if you focus on getting out of debt, you should be focused on making money. They asked Mother Teresa if she was anti-war, and she said, no, I'm pro-peace.
Exactly. That's a really good point. Today, there's a war against everything. And pushing back doesn't get you a solution. It gets you more of the problem.
No, I love it. Love it. So let me ask you this. Why do you think most people fail in the real estate or any business for that matter? What do you think is the most common reason people fail?
Well, because of that, and if you didn't write it down before, listeners, please write this down. CCA, consistent, committed action. Can you do that on a weekly basis? If so, it's no big deal. Success is really simple, especially if you can overcome the boredom in it, because you're going to be doing the same things over and over again. But that's it. Can I consistently, committedly move toward my goals each and every week? If yes, you're going to be successful. If not, you got no chance. No matter how smart you are, how good looking you are, how much money you have, it doesn't matter.
No, I agree. So let's talk about leadership for a minute. What's one characteristic that you think every leader should possess?
Well, the ability to share their vision and make it something that people can actually feel. And that's where we start with a plan. Is you have to start with a vision. In fact, everything that man has created on this planet starts first with a vision and moves into a plan, and then there's execution, then there's review, and like that. So vision.
Are there any books that have had a major impact on your life and your business? Is there a book that you gift more than another? Sure.
Yeah, there is. There's lots of. My favorite one now is The Magic.
The Magic.
By Rhonda Byrne. Yeah, it's all about implementation. In fact,
she was the secret, right? Did you say Rhonda Byrne?
Yeah, right, exactly. And she has another book before that, The Power, I think it was.
Okay.
That's on audio. But the great thing about The Magic is it's all implementation. Do this, do this, do this on a daily and weekly basis. So, like for example, every day I focus on at least 10 things that I love about my life. And then I look forward to the day and I go, what 3 things can be magnificent outcomes? So this morning when I was doing, my prep, I visualized this right here and I said, thank you for the magnificent outcome of being able to change lives by sharing these great master skills with Rod's folks. And then I feel that and it feels great. And then I track that. And here we are.
What's some bad advice you've gotten along the way?
Oh, so much. The thing I learned real early in life is beware of who you trust. And I'm very trusting. I'm a total optimist, sometimes to my fault. But what I found is that people don't mean to mislead you. They just were taught by someone who didn't know, who was taught by someone who didn't know, who was taught by someone who didn't know. So I like to always go to the source if I can and be very, very, very careful. I was at a big convention this last weekend for real estate here in the Pacific Northwest. And this guy, I started talking to him and I said, well, how's business? As well, the market is just, there's no houses. Really? Well, you're going to manifest that. Do you want that? Well, no. What would it look like without the problem? And then, well, it'd be great. Yeah. And I gave him a couple of tips how they could go and get business at will. So be careful of what you believe.
Sure. What do you think is the best advice you've ever received?
Oh, that's a good one. What's the best advice I've ever received? Well, probably don't look for easy money. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
The only place that success comes before work is in the dictionary. So
I love that.
Do hard work.
I love that. I'm going to steal that one. That's awesome.
Go ahead.
So who inspires you? Who do you who do you consider a thought leader that inspires you? I guess Rhonda Byrne, probably some of the people that she brought it together for the movie The Secret. Anybody else come to mind as an inspiration?
Well, I love Abraham. From Abraham Hicks. same stuff, just different
Right.
stuff, different approach.
Yeah.
That's really great stuff. And I'm really blessed to know some really smart, really wealthy people, and I get a great amount. My goal is always to be to not be the smartest person in the room, and I think I'm pretty smart. So I'm always looking for people who are more, and I get a lot out of my support group that way.
I love it. Yeah, that's why I created my mastermind. I had 16 people here at my house. My compound in Florida is about $1 billion in assets, and now it's grown to $4 billion. And it
Wow.
just, you want to be around people that think what you think is hard is easy and have done it all. I mean, if you're around people that, now you have two hands, one to pull yourself up and one to pull other people up. I'm not saying not helping other people, which I know is where you are at your core, Dan, but I absolutely agree with what you said. You want to be around people that are where you want to be, and that's why I created I've got the largest multifamily Facebook group on the planet. It's almost 26,000 people, and those are all people that want more out of life, and that's who you want to be around. You don't want to be around the people that are fearful and afraid and are going to, like you said, when you're commiserating in a group in a party and you talk about how bad things are, you'll get everybody come out of the woodwork. But you want to be around the people that stand guard at the door to their mind and focus on bringing in positive energy. That's why I don't watch the news anymore.
Oh my goodness. No, you got to get rid of the news. It's the bad news is what it is. But
Right.
You just reminded me of something that I really like to share with the group, because have you ever gone to a thing like what you're talking about, where you have all these superstars and you walk away going, gosh, I came here thinking I was really hot, and now I can see I'm crap. You gotta not do that. Okay.
Right.
It works against you. What you really want is to be able to look at somebody. Let's just say you're making $1 million and they're making $8 million. You look at them and go, wow, way to go. Fantastic. I love it. Just as if it was yours. Because if not, guess what? You're pushing it away. You're pushing it away. So that's when you make comparisons, you got to be real careful about that. You say,
agree more.
that's me. That's me. I want that. I love that. I attract that.
Love it. What's your favorite quote? That's the last question I want to ask you today.
Favorite quote? Yeah, sure. I end all my talks with
if you've got a couple, that's fine. Share quotes that drive you and motivate you and propel you.
Well, my favorite as a speaker and coach is education without implementation is just entertainment.
It's entertainment. Yeah, I knew it. I finished it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And that's quoting my partner. He was a brilliant guy, and I've learned a ton from him, and it's just been great.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, no, I've heard that. I've heard that quote as well. In fact, I use it as well.
Now you know where it was stolen from.
I didn't know that. I didn't know where it came from, but I use it. I use it in my live events because it's
good.
Yeah,
good. It is true.
I mean, so many people go to an event and never do a damn thing with it, and then it's just entertainment. I do boot camps, 3-day boot camps around the country, and they sell out, and I love them and everything else. And my goal is to try to have, to skew the numbers, because 90% of the people that buy a course or do a boot camp or whatever, they don't do a dang thing with it, and it's just a crime. So
you want to know why that is, by the way?
Sure.
The science behind it?
I believe it's fear. I believe it's limiting beliefs. I believe it's, they're comfortable, but I'd love to hear your thought on it.
Yeah, it's all of those. And sometimes it's this. Whenever you achieve your goal, you flatten out with energy.
Oh, yeah.
So in other words, you don't, let's say your goal is to, make $100,000. If you make $100,000, you don't say, okay, now let me go make $200,000 in the last 20 minutes here. So whenever you achieve your goal, you flatten out of energy. So maybe you come back home and you don't do anything and you go, why aren't I doing anything? Well, maybe your goal wasn't to actually implement and to be successful. It was just to look like you were working on it. And see, when you go to the event, you're working on it. It looks like you want it. But when you get home, yeah, there's a little bit of fear, but it's just like, hey, I need to change my goal. So in other words, you don't goal set to get to the Super Bowl. The Bills did that back in the 90s, okay? And they got to a lot of Super Bowls and they lost them all. You want to goal set to win. You goal set through, not to.
Oh, through. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Very, very critical distinction. Well, listen, I appreciate you being on the show, Dan Duran, and your contact information will be in the show notes. You've added a ton of value today, and I really appreciate your valuable time, my friend.
And Ron, I appreciate yours too, and I can see that we're brethren when it comes to the mindset.
It's everything. It's everything. All right, my friend. Take care. We'll talk soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
See ya.
Hey, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you listen to podcasts, join me on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to those podcasts. Just search for Lifetime Cash Flow through Real Estate Investing.
Any investment opportunities mentioned on this podcast are limited to accredited investors. Any investments will only be made with proper disclosure and subscription documentation and subject to all applicable laws.